Hey guys, how's it going? It's the end of the year, it's resolution season, so I wanted to chat about how I've recently changed my approach and my mindset to goal setting. Side note, I love this kind of discussion, so feel free to comment down below and let me know what your approach is, what your mindset is. Are you even making goals this year? What goals are you focusing on this year? All of this stuff is so much fun to me, so feel free to let me know. It's a busy time of year, so I'll cut straight to the chase. The gist of it is that instead of just listing things that I want to do, I'm trying to think about things that I would be disappointed if I didn't do. I've kind of realized if I don't have strong feelings about it by the end of the year, why am I spending a year worrying about it? I've been focusing more on why I want to accomplish certain goals and really trying to think about what future me would care about. There have been some years and some goals where I've cared more about just crossing things off the list than whatever the goal was in the first place. And I don't want my goals to feel like a to-do list. I want my goals to be important and to matter and to be something that I genuinely want to strive for. So I've been really focusing more on why I want to accomplish certain goals and what future me is actually going to care about, not just what current/past me decided I wanted to do. I do want to explain quickly kind of why my old method wasn't working for me anymore, but if you just want to know about the new method or what my goals are, I'm going to have timestamps listed down in the description. In previous years, I kind of just brainstormed what I wanted to do that year. I had my overall improvement goals, which were great, but kind of repetitive, the same thing every year, and were kind of just a given. Of course I want to stay on top of my health and be more active and keep my house clean and keep my finances organized. That's kind of obvious, but I don't need to write those on a list every year. They don't feel like goals. They feel like just long-term lifestyle things that I want to just be doing all of the time. Because that kind of feels like the default of what I want to achieve, it stopped really feeling good when I did accomplish them, and I only really felt something when I failed. And then that just was a cycle of negativity that honestly did not help me with anything. And even the fun things, there are so many things that I want to do. Of course I want to read a bunch of books and watch movies that have been just sitting on my list forever, or make time for certain hobbies or new hobbies even. But then maybe throughout the year I wouldn't be in the mood for certain movies, or I would find a new game that I found so much more exciting, or I would just want to do something different. The mindset of putting the fun things on my list kind of sucked some of the fun out of it and made it feel like pressure. And for some reason, this type of goal just didn't feel flexible to me anymore. If I said I wanted to watch these movies and instead I watched these movies, I felt like I was failing even though I'm still watching movies that I wanted to watch. It made fun feel like a chore and it just wasn't getting me anywhere. Basically, I just somehow lost the purpose of making goals. And I do think a big part of that was just burnout and feeling down all the time. But I realized I don't care if January me wanted to watch this TV series if July me isn't interested anymore. And September me doesn't need a reminder from January me that I want to be healthy. I know that. Overall, it was all just not helping me get things done and making me feel bad, so I just abandoned everything and felt like shit. And this might seem unexpected, but the thing that finally helped me shift my mindset was baseball. If you don't know, I used to follow baseball really closely. If you're curious about my teams, of course the Toronto Blue Jays and the Boston Red Sox. I've had an MLB radio subscription for years. I listened to games all the time. I used to go over to my parents' house every Friday with my brother and we would watch baseball together. But my brother moved away and life got busy and I kind of stopped following it as closely. And then after the 2020 season, I just never got back into it. And I had been wanting to get back into baseball because I did miss it, but keeping up with a sport is just a lot sometimes. Every month or so, I would check the standings just to kind of see how my teams were doing. And this year, the Toronto Blue Jays were doing really well. So I started checking every couple weeks, this is what the standings were, and then I started checking our scores at the end of the week and how certain games went, and then I actually caught a couple of games. And this year, the Blue Jays were doing really well. I realized that if the Blue Jays made it to the postseason, which doesn't happen all that often, but if they made it to the postseason and I missed it, I would feel so disappointed. So I started to actually prioritize watching baseball and making time for it and catching the games on the radio. And if you're a baseball fan, you already know, but the Blue Jays, the Toronto freaking Blue Jays made it to Game 7 of the World Series and played amazing. We lost in the end, but honestly, like, we played such good baseball. The entire postseason was just so great, so much fun. But the whole point of this tangent is that it helped me shift my mindset from not just what do I want to do, but what is actually going to affect me and matter to me long term. What am I going to feel like I missed out on? What am I going to regret? An example from last year is that I wanted to take a really nice long nature walk in the fall. And I didn't end up doing it, and I felt really disappointed that I missed my window. If you don't know, I live in Atlantic Canada. I'm in New Brunswick. So our winters come pretty early. Our falls are actually pretty short. Last year we had a heat wave that lasted all the way into September, and by Halloween we had snow on the ground. So I went back to that goal and I thought about why I had picked it and what part actually mattered to me. And it mostly came down to, I love fall, I love being in nature, I love trees. Again, New Brunswick, I'm surrounded by forests everywhere. It's like fall is so beautiful, it's so gorgeous, it's the best time of year. I wanted to do it on a day off because I didn't want to have to feel rushed to get home by a certain time or worry about being too tired after work. And the weather just wasn't cooperating on the days when I was off and free. Like, we had so many rainstorms. But I walk to and from work, so on the days when the weather was nice, I just, took the scenic route or slowed down a little bit and just appreciated everything around me. Or on the way home, I would walk through the woods instead and just kind of enjoy being there and surrounded by the trees and all of that stuff. And I realized that that's what I really wanted. I still got to enjoy the fall weather. I got to appreciate the nature. It felt good. I enjoyed it. And that's what I was disappointed in missing. And that's actually the first goal I put on my list for 2026. I still think a dedicated nature walk and maybe like packing a little snack and just making a day out of it would be the most fun. But officially, goal number 1 is just walking and enjoying time in nature surrounded by trees. Preferably in fall because that's my favorite. For reading goals, that's another one that changed quite a bit. I used to just pick a big number and try to read as much as I could. And that was fun, like, don't get me wrong, I love reading 100 books a year, that feels awesome. But even if I accomplish that, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to like all of those books or that I'm going to be getting my TBR down. And that's what future me actually cares about. Off the top of my head, I can't tell you how many books I read in 2019, but I can tell you some books I loved, so I think that's what actually matters to me. I do still hope to read a lot of books, but I kind of had to stop and think about why. Like, what aspect should be a goal? What would bother me about not reading? The two biggest things are having too many unread books on my shelves. It stresses me out and it makes me sad. And just how many amazing books are out there that I want to read, and there is unfortunately only so much time in a lifetime. And those go together really nicely because if I bought a physical book, it's probably because I expected to love it or I wanted to read it. So reading the physical books on my shelves really ticks both of those boxes. So I decided that that will be my goal. I want to read 30 unread physical books from my shelves. If you're wondering why 30, it's because that would lower the percentage of unread books on my shelves down to 29%. And a number that starts with a 2 feels so much smaller than 30 something. You know what I mean? I don't super care that it doesn't necessarily make sense. Like, it is kind of just a random number, but it's all about the mentality, and I think that that will make me feel good. So goal number 2 is to read 30 unread physical books from my shelves. I also just want to prioritize books that I was excited about at some point. I have so many lists of books that were recommended to me by friends, or upcoming releases that have long since come out, or a billion screenshots from BookTube, or just other people talking about books that they really loved that I thought, that sounds right up my alley, I want to read that. When I'm just casually in the mood for reading and I'm not really in the mood to pick up something off of my shelves, I either just like go to the library or the Libby app, which is connected to the library, and I kind of just scroll until I find something that piques my interest. But I have so many books already that I know have piqued my interest that I just don't think about. And obviously I have found many great books that way, but it doesn't do anything to bring my list down. On the Libby app, you can make lists, like a wish list or basically a TBR, and there's actual functionality to them because you can just click on that list, and click, show by available, and it'll list all of the ones that are currently available at your local library. And I think that's a lot more useful to me than just scraps of paper, screenshots on my phone, notes to self, text message I've sent myself. Like, all of that stuff is great, but it doesn't actually help me read the books, whereas this actually would. So goal number 3 is to create a wishlist / TBR on the Libby app. And that's actually all for my current reading goals. I would love to read much more than that, and hopefully I will, but I don't need to make it a goal. If future me wants to read every single day, that's great, but at least doing those 2 things will help me feel accomplished at the end of the year. I also have 2 writing goals. They took a lot more brainstorming because I'm still trying to figure out kind of what I want and also just what's realistic after my really long writing hiatus. I posted a writing update, by the way, last week if you're curious about that. The first one that popped into my head, and honestly the one that feels most important to me, is finishing Monsters and Imaginary Friends. And I'm using the word finishing so loosely here. I don't know when it will feel finished and what that timeline even is realistically. I know that I need to finish draft 5, go through those revisions. After that, I imagine another round of beta readers and then another round of revisions. After that, I have no idea. I honestly don't know what my finish line for this project even is. I mentioned before that I had no intention of pursuing publishing with this project. I've had a lot of different thoughts on that, and I don't really know where I stand right now, but that's a topic for another day. All I know right now is that I'll be really bummed out if I don't give this book my best, and I'll feel really disappointed if I never get to have it on my shelf, even if it's just a copy that I printed out for myself. Will it feel finished after just another round of betas and revisions, or will I figure out some major elements that need to change and have to do more rounds and rinse and repeat and do that a couple more times? Like, I don't know. Can I even make it feel finished on my own, or will I want to hire an editor and go through that process? Like, I have no idea. Those are crystal ball questions. This is definitely my least measurable goal right now, but I decided that that's okay. This goal doesn't need to be set in stone just because it's January. I think that as long as the intentions and the first few steps are there, I can plan specifics later on if I need to. But either way, goal number 4 is to finish Monsters and Imaginary Friends. My second writing goal is so much easier to measure, and that is just to finish a new draft of a new project. Right now I'm thinking a first draft of a completely new idea, but I'm not going to rule out like second draft of a story that I started years ago, because honestly it's been so long that I'd basically be starting from scratch anyways. It just basically comes down to, after all of this, writing-wise, I would be disappointed if I never wrote a new story ever again. I really feel like I have fallen in love with writing again, and I just want to write and enjoy that and have fun. And honestly, like, outlining and first drafts are by far my favorite aspect of writing, so I really want to do that. So goal number 5 is to complete a draft of a new project. In previous years, I would usually make a YouTube goal, like posting a certain amount of videos or doing certain types of videos. And that sounds great. Like, I would love to keep posting consistently, ideally at least once a week. But is that something that I would feel disappointed if future me decided, this isn't fun, I'm feeling stressed, I don't want to do this anymore? Would I truly feel disappointed if that was the decision I came to? What I would really feel sad about would be losing the community again and missing my friends. So I feel like that's what the goal should be. Regardless of what happens, I want to stay part of the bookish community. I want to stay connected with all of these people that I've met and all of these wonderful experiences that I've had. Like, I don't want to lose that again. Obviously, that would be awesome if I could do it by creating videos and posting content and responding to comments and all of that fun stuff. But it's also watching other booktube and authortube videos and talking in those comments and keeping in touch with my friends and joining in on live streams and chatting sometimes, not just lurking. And again, this isn't a goal that I can measure all that well, but I think that I'm still going to put it on my list just to keep on top of it and try to keep it in the front of my mind, and at least just checking in throughout the year and seeing if I'm feeling satisfied with what I have been doing. And maybe throughout the year I'll be able to realize exactly what aspects feel the most like progress towards this goal and bring me the most satisfaction, And I can always, like I said, adjust my goals throughout the year and realize, oh, maybe participating in a live stream once a month is what makes me, feel like I'm working towards this goal. Or, watching this amount of videos or meeting this many new people. Like, I don't know, but I also don't have to know right now. And having it on my list now will at least keep it in the front of my mind and let me know that this is something that I think I'm going to care about. So think about it. So as of right now, goal number 6 is just to be involved in the bookish community and all of the friends that I've made through it. And I think my final goal is going to be my goals. Hear me out. There have been so many years that December rolls around and I suddenly remember a big goal that I had that I had just completely forgotten about throughout the entire year, and I feel really disappointed because it's something that I totally should have and could have done. I've seen people keeping goal journals before, and I always really liked that idea. I love the idea of tracking goals and noting progress and doing all of that stuff, but also the journaling aspect, pausing to think about how are you feeling about your goals? Are they working? Are they not working? Are you having fun? Do you want to push yourself more? Do you want to scale it back? Being on top of all of that is kind of the whole point of goals for me. I don't want to do something just because I said I'm going to do something, although that is a big part of the motivation. A big part of my current process and thinking about what will actually matter to my future self really kind of depends on what is happening to that future self. And journaling is just so much fun. It's going to help me stay accountable. It'll give me something fun to look back on at the end of the year. I think that'll be really fun. So my final goal for now, goal number 7, is to have a goals journal and keep up with it. And that's it. Those are my 7 goals for 2026. I'd like to make a few more videos throughout the year about these goals, not just a check-in at the end of the year saying whether I passed or failed them. Check-ins or vlogs or updates if there are any. But let me know what you think or what your mindset is, what your goals are, if you're even doing goals this year. I'd love to hear all that. But that is all for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please click the like button to let me know, and subscribe to see how these actually go and stay up to date on the rest of my videos. I usually post reading and writing related videos once a week for now, so I hope to see you guys next time, and until then, have a great day. Bye!